Welcome back here. 32 years. That's how long it's been since 14-year-old Misty Copsey disappeared while attending the Washington State Fair.
Which just wrapped up actually this weekend. Well, now Puyallup Police, they are renewing efforts to try and bring Misty home. So joining us to continue the conversation this morning is Detective Ken Lewis, who's assigned to that case. And Detective, thanks for joining us. Can you start by giving us some background on what happened? This was on September 17th, 1992, when Misty was last seen.
Sure. Good morning, Steve and Lee. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to be on today. This is an ongoing case we've been working on for, like you said, 32 years now. And we highly value any opportunity to get the word out, because that's what makes cold cases, long-standing cases like this, successful in the end. So back in September 1992, on the 17th, which is a Thursday, 14-year-old Misty Copsey came to the fair. She was dropped off by her mother, along with one of her teenage friends. And they enjoyed a pretty uneventful, fun day at the fair together. As you would probably expect kids may do, they missed the last bus heading out of the fair that night, however. And Misty's mother was unavailable to come pick her up. They had to make some arrangements to try to get her home. Her friend was able to find a way safely home. The last person that apparently saw Misty was a bus driver who was trying to help her figure out how to get a transfer bus to Tacoma. Since then, Misty's not been heard from since. And the case has been ongoing for all these years.
Detective, while you were speaking there, I know that we've been showing this recently shared progression photo of Misty that's been circulated across the region. How do these photos work, and how can they help detectives in cases like this one?
So the age progression photos have been very helpful, because in cases like this where children are missing when they're younger, understandably their appearance changes over time. And we have to attack the problem. We have to look at this problem from a lot of different facets, and one is the child's appearance. There have been recovered children across this country who were simply witnessed, like at a grocery store. As time progresses, they get older. And with the help of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which is based in Alexandria, Virginia, their agency works with law enforcement, and upon any request, they will do age progressions as long as we have suitable photos of the child based on the age they should be. So this is something we've done continually throughout the case to keep up. Now Misty's in her mid-40s, and so we wanted to make sure her most recent photo gets out there.
And Detective Lewis, why did the Puyallup Police Department reboot this case specifically in 2009? And what did detectives do to try and move this investigation along?
Sure. I think Captain Gill was going to address this, but I'm not sure if you guys have him on or not. Is he on the conversation as well?
I don't think he's with us today. No,
right.
I don't think he is.
No problem. I think we were having technical issues.
Okay.
So back in 2009, much like anybody in their own lives takes inventory of, like, where are we? What have we done? Who's done what? How is this categorically organized? And our department got to that point. It was probably driven mainly by administration. Our administrators here decided it would be a good time to take a fresh look. Coincidentally, as time progresses, technology increases, and we have new capabilities, especially in the world of DNA and other forensic sciences, that require that we take fresh looks at cases over the years. And that is what happened back in 2009. To our leaders' credit, what they did is they actually dedicated a detective full-time to the case. They actually also hired an outside investigator who was very experienced with these types of cases, and took a whole fresh look at it and completely redid the case. What they found is some new information, some of it helpful, some of it basically asking more questions, and that's why they actually redid the case back then.
Can you talk about some of the challenges that you and other detectives have faced when it comes to trying to solve this particular case, and maybe even cold cases in general?
Cold cases have a lot of different aspects to them that make them more difficult inherently. And this one specifically, one of the problems is the lack of evidence. Forensic evidence, electronic evidence, those help us solve crimes. And even in the smallest way, help lead the investigation down the right path. In this case, a lot of those paths have run dry. In cases where evidence may have gone away, it just doesn't exist anymore. And case information and technologies that didn't exist in the 1990s do make cases like this harder for us. One great example, one very obvious example, we're using it today, is the advent of internet technology, mobile electronics. These are things that help us find missing children better nowadays that were pretty much non-existent in the early 1990s. Memories fade over time. Some of the potential witnesses and participants in a case this old pass away. Unfortunately, Misty's mother had passed away a few years ago. And sometimes there are actually some difficulties in publicizing the way we do. A lot of leads do come into us, but a lot of the leads that all have to be investigated sometimes send us down rabbit holes that we have to still chase, because you never know, one lead might be a valid lead. So really, it's a double-edged sword that we have the help of the public, but we will never turn them away.
Sometimes you just need that one break, and you have so much more, unfortunately, more work to do as technology does change. So is there anything else you want the public to know about Misty's disappearance, everything that you now have learned since 2009 in particular? Any message you want for viewers?
We really want the public to be aware of our case. The key to any cold case is never letting it be forgotten, never let the victim be forgotten. And so we want to make sure that the people are aware. We want to also make sure and continue to spread the word that if anybody knows anything, if anybody hears anything, recalls anything from back in 1992, or probably more likely hears somebody talking about something, to make sure and get a hold of our department, get a hold of an investigator. You never know when your tip might be the one that actually tips the case. In addition to, we know there's probably people out there who have spent all these years knowing things and for whatever reason has chosen not to talk to the police. We highly encourage those folks. Think about it, do the right thing, call the police department, and help us out with this 32-year-old mystery. What is the best way for folks who are watching to reach out to the department if they do have something that might be able to help with the investigation? Sure. We have a tip line. The email address is very simply an email address. It's tips, T-I-P-S, at puyallupwa.gov. We also have a tip line number, 253-770-3343. And if you forget either one of those, literally any police agency will get you in touch with our agency. Misty's case is nationwide, if not worldwide.
Okay. Great ways to reach out if you have any information 32 years ago.
Yeah. Detective, thank you so much for your work, and thank you for coming on the show today to try to spread awareness about this case that I know has remained unsolved for decades now, and hopefully somebody has some answers out there and will come forward and help bring some closure to this. Appreciate your time.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
All right, and that number one more time, since he was only able to say it once, 253-770-3343. Again, if you have any information that can help the Puyallup Police Department with their investigation. I mean, this is a long time. When you're talking about 32 years that people have been waiting for answers about where she might be. And yes, age has progressed. If she's still alive, this is a good idea of what she may look like there on the right-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, haircuts might be different. You never know.
Yeah.
And any kind, and like he said, it's only one piece of information. Right. Something small can break this case wide open. It's unfortunate to hear that her mom had passed before she'd been able to maybe get some answers about what had happened. And you think about how different the world was back in 1992, and even the thought of being able to go to the fair, that you were with your friend and just not able to make it home that night. Yeah. But we will make that information also on our website too, you know, for hot links too. We usually post it there for anyone who has information to try and connect with the Puyallup Police Department.
And probably if you're looking for another look of that age progression photo too, we'll also post that on our website. So thanks for the detective for that.
Yep.